Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. Here are your hosts, Oswin and Lord Knight.
All right, so I don't know exactly how we're going to word this, but today I have chosen, drum roll please, how open-minded do you have to be before your brains fall out? I mean, honestly, is there a thing as too much open-mindedness?
I think to a certain extent there is.
How so?
Well, I mean, if you're getting to the point where you will stand for nothing and just accept what anybody says,
Okay.
Am I making sense? There has to come a point in someone's life to where you say, okay, here's what I believe in, and this is what I'm going to stand for.
Okay, but basically you can't do that if you're, oh, I'm so open-minded. I'm open to everything. Does that eliminate your ability to take a stance on something?
It can, to effect to where if you're sitting there being told stuff that you don't honestly believe in. I mean, if you're too busy going with the crowd, then to question everything. Come on, you don't remember the saying, that our moms used to say to us all the time? Well, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you?
Very true.
I said, my mom, that was always, looking at my friends going, well, if he jumps off a bridge, are y'all going? Because I'd be one of the first ones to go, yeah, I'm going to do that right there.
Hell yeah, I'll do that.
But again, I mean, this whole entire thing, yes, it goes down the conversation of, well, it depends on the bridge. What's under the bridge? Is it land? Are we jumping into the river?
Right, and then how deep is that river?
And how deep is it? How dangerous is it? I'm sorry, to accept things blindly just because somebody said so.
Right.
I mean, to me, this is also the same thing, just because an author wrote it in a book, so therefore it's true. Just because somebody said it on a podcast, suddenly it's true.
It's like, that's gospel. I heard that on this and that, and I read it in a book. That's gospel.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, I saw it on Twitter, so therefore it must be true.
Right. Well, this was posted on TikTok.
Right. That's like, trusting everything CNN and Fox News tells you. Even down to the point to where, yes, you are watching certain podcasts and you're accepting what they're saying and not doing the research yourself whatsoever. Am I making any sense there?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of get what you're saying, that if you're just going along with everything and you don't question anything, you're never really going to be able to make a stand or really believe in anything.
If you make it even worse a little bit, when you start to think about it this way, this is the same thing that we hear that people talk about people from Christianity. Oh, they just believe whatever in the world that book says. They just believe whatever in the world their pastor tells them. They never go any deeper.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
But yet I'll go to certain and listen to certain podcasts and YouTube channels, and first thing I hear out of these people's mouth is, hi, boys and girls, and non-binary people too. There are no non-binary people.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? I'm sorry, if I'm watching a channel and that's going to be the first words out of your mouth, I'm going to downvote it and click back out of it. Doesn't matter if you got good information then or not. Because apparently you haven't done your research.
Right, you're just blindly following that non-binary is a gender.
Right. That this is something real. Human bodies are gendered. Yes, there are some quote unquote intersex people who might have both, but I'm not sure what the odds are there, but they're low. Where somebody's born with both genitalias or neither genitalia.
Right.
Yes, they do exist, but
they're so
just because they exist,
they're so few and far between.
Right. I mean, again, to me, this is still doing the same thing with the left-handed, right-handed thing.
Okay.
Now, when I was growing up, all right, so the early 70s, it was still a thing to try to get your kids to be right-handed, even though they might be left-handed.
Right, because I believe there was a prevalent belief that left-handedness indicated being of the devil.
Right. Well, in certain cultures, they don't use the left hand because that's used to do certain activities, like when you go to the bathroom.
Okay.
All right. So it's considered dirty, even though you might wash your hands and all that, it's still considered dirty. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's been near that area. I don't care that it's been washed. No.
Understandable. Understandable.
Understandable. All right. And I remember going into kindergarten. Okay.
Hmm.
And the teacher sitting me down and forcing me to use my right hand and not my left because I was bad about switching back and forth, which is a sign of a different issue for me, but it does happen in some kids.
Right.
And since they saw me switching back and forth, oh, hey, we'll just force him to be right-handed. Suddenly, my mom, so I go home one day and I'm complaining after kindergarten. My mom's like, what's wrong? Well, they made me use my right hand all day to write. Next day, my mom walks into the classroom and is looking at these people going, look, no, he eats left-handed. He bats left. He does everything left-handed at home, minus shooting guns and bows because Dad was right-handed. I had to learn that way. I hate to be that way. If he golfed, I probably would have had to learn how to golf right-handed.
Right. What
Because again,
makes sense. I mean, he doesn't know how to teach you how to do things left-handed.
exactly. So again, no shame in there on him, but I still do it to this day. I still can't shoot left-handed.
Right. But now, question is, I mean, if they had been a little more open-minded then, that wouldn't have been an issue.
Well, I know, but
So-
here's my problem with the open-minded. Open-mindedness makes you sit back and go, okay, yeah, people can be left-handed, people can be right-handed. But at what point, okay, I'm so open-minded that all I ever hear is, okay, you got to be right-handed, so therefore I'm going to force everybody right-handed.
But to me, that's not being open-minded.
But it's being open-minded enough for somebody else to put thoughts into your head.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
All right. Again, this is not their thoughts. These teachers, while most teachers are more liberal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Than most of the community, most teachers are. These liberal minds were so open that, yeah, this was beaten to their head to where they just did it. If you're so open-minded, you don't question nothing.
All right. So there is a line. It might not be a definitive line, but there is a line somewhere where if you're too open-minded, you just blindly accept everything.
Right. It's just random person comes up to you going, okay, today's color is blue. Okay. What?
So that means everything's blue today.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can't
Do you
get
see
on
what I'm
board
saying?
with that.
There's this line, and being open-minded to a certain extent, listening to other people's ideas and stuff like that. Yes, this is a good thing, right?
Right.
But sitting there and just accepting it, no questions. The priest said so, so therefore it is.
Yeah, no, I didn't even do that when I was growing up in the Christian church.
Well, I mean, but again, I see this a lot in the pagan community. Well, that's an author, so therefore, I mean, I hate to be that way. Same thing. Oh, well, he said he was a third degree, so therefore, no, it don't work like that.
Well, yeah, and also I notice a lot in the pagan community where most people are saying, well, I've been so oppressed growing up and I've been forced to do it this way, whether it be religion or living life or whatever, that when they come to paganism, it's like the extreme opposite. They're just blindly accept everything. They're open to everything, and everything is good, and everything, whatever you want to do, you do it.
Exactly.
It's good. There's no wrong way. Yeah, there is.
I mean, I know it sounds weird for us to sit there and say that there is, but there isn't at the same time. And a lot of people don't understand that. There are
Well,
people.
I was going to say, yeah, it can be a confusing concept, but yeah.
It can be. All we're saying is whatever an individual is capable of doing is possible. It doesn't mean you're going to reach that. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me.
You know, you got a class. Okay, let's think about this. You got a class of 100 people, right?
Right.
All right. And this 100 people, just for sake of argument, represents everybody in the United States in a certain age group. Okay.
All right.
So for example, let's just say we're talking about kids that are about to leave high school, right?
All right. That's a good age.
All right. Good age. These people that are turning 18 years old have the potential to do whatever they want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they've got the world ahead of them.
They got the world ahead of them. Yes, one of them could be presidents. One of them, some of them could grow up to be, 4-star generals, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
A problem we have in our society now is only one person out of that class is actually going to be president. All right? That means 99 other people aren't.
Right.
And the open-minded person is going to be like, but what about the 99 people that didn't get it, that lost? Well, they didn't run, so they didn't lose. They just didn't run.
Right. They chose a different path.
Right. But again, we have this concept that keeps on coming up in society as a whole of everybody focusing in on what's wrong. Does that make sense?
A little bit, yeah.
I'll give you an example. When you start talking to people about their past lives, right?
Okay.
Here's what you hear. Oh, well, she don't have a hand because she killed people in a previous life.
Okay.
So this person don't have the right hand, so therefore they can't shoot a gun anymore. Are you with me?
Yeah, I mean, that to me that sounds like karma, though.
It is. It's exactly what in the world they're doing, but it's always from a negative point of view in the pagan world.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Some type of punishment.
Right. So I'll give you another example, okay? Where somebody might go, okay, you're dyslexic in this life because in a previous life you just hoarded knowledge and blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
All you did was read books and hoard knowledge. Okay, that seems a little negative, right?
Just a little bit, yeah.
All right. At no point did anybody ever sit there and go, okay, what if it's not that? What if this person chose to be dyslexic in this life so they wouldn't have the option to necessarily stick their nose in books and experience life?
Makes sense.
Because spiritually growing, they need to go out and experience. They have all the knowledge.
I can see that, yeah.
All right. Here's the thing about the open-mindedness is this is what we keep on hearing from everybody.
Basically they're just filling everybody with all the negative stuff and everybody's just soaking it in. Right.
On certain things, we're doing this whole negative thing. That's like sitting there going, and these people that go around with these crystals, all right, and go and have them wearing around their necks. This is going to protect me from bad things.
Right.
All right. Now, again, let's think about it like this. Demons or negative energy or negative creatures.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What we would call demons or be harmful to us whatsoever if they attach or whatever. This is a multi-dimensional creature that just crossed over dimensions, right?
Right.
We as humans still can't do this, correct?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge. So this takes an awful lot of power. How do you think that little crystal is actually going to stop a being that can cross dimensional barriers? If a dimensional barrier can't stop it, how in the hell is a little quartz crystal going to do it? Everybody who believes this, to me, is so open-minded that they just believe this without questioning.
Well, I mean, I can see that, but at the same time, that protection crystal does have some potential to it. I just don't know if it has that much potential to it.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying that these things don't work. I'm just saying they don't work as effectively as everybody thinks they do.
At least not in my practice, not in my experience.
Right. Because, I mean, I hate to be this way. We were raised with Dumbo. We understand the concept of the feather.
Right.
I mean, to me, the crystals are the same thing. They're just feathers. They're not the ones doing the work. The people are.
Right. Again, it's a focal point.
It's a focal point. All right. But yes, there are people out there that completely believe, that are so open-minded that they completely believe that.
And never question anything else.
And never question anything. But yet, as soon as they sit down with somebody with a little bit of authority, and they sit there and I sit there and tell them this, you'll see them sit there and like try to hide their little crystal underneath their neck, in their shirts.
Well, some of them will, and some of them will sit there and they'll just be like, "How dare you tell me this is not going to work?"
Nope. Actually, no. When you're sitting in a classroom, when you're doing one of these college courses, when you're doing something like that, and people do that, very few people buck you.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Very few. There are people out there who will. All right? Don't get me wrong. But the majority, that's in that bell curve, that which is in the majority of everybody, right?
Okay.
What is that? 97% of people?
I guess. I don't know. I was never good with statistics.
But again, the majority of them people aren't going to question you. Because again, I think there's a human nature not to question people we perceive with authority.
Yeah, see, I don't believe that. I don't care.
I'm not saying everybody does, but the majority of the people, come on. Think about when you went back to church and all the kids that just accepted whatever the preacher says.
Yeah, well, not just the preacher, Sunday school teachers.
You're starting to see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you were taught these things and that was it. You accepted it.
Right. And there were people out there that accepted it. Then there were some people like yourself and like me that would have sat there and went, but whoa, wait a minute.
Why? What about this? What about that?
I got questions. There were dinosaurs. We do have their bones. No, we don't exactly know what in the world they look like, but we got a good guess.
Yeah, so how did they figure?
And we haven't found no other human skulls there, so what are we talking about? I mean, do you see what I'm saying, though?
Mm-hmm.
There's very few people that do that. There are people that will just sit there and go, okay.
I think we need to get to that place where more and more people are questioning things. I mean, it's great to be open-minded, but come on, don't just blindly accept something.
I know. I mean, push back. I mean, I'd sit there and tell people, when you're listening to our stuff, if I say something wrong, push back. Tell me what it is.
Right. Be open enough to listen, but question it.
Question it.
If something about that doesn't sit right with you, question it.
There's nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I question people all the time.
Sure. And I question you all the time.
Make a long story short, there was a gentleman we were talking about that I showed you where he's basically selling spells. Now, from my ethics and morals, no, there's nothing wrong with this. Ethically.
Right. Well, that's all another episode, but
that's a different episode. But the fact is that me and you actually debated it.
Oh, yeah.
There's another subject which I don't want to get into, which I know we debated and we still see from different points of view.
Yes.
But on the other hand, we can also see where the other person's saying too. Yeah, we completely disagree.
The one where you saw it one way and I got something else out of it and we argued about it and, well, not argued, but we debated it. And, we even talked about the comments and I still don't agree with you.
No, but you could see where in the world I see what in the world I see, and I see what in the world you see when you watch the same video. It's kind of like that dress.
Right.
That was going around. Is it this color or is it that color?
Mm-hmm.
And people really did debate and even argue over which color they saw.
Exactly, yeah. But again, we were open-minded enough to listen to each other, but not open-minded enough to just blindly accept. Like I wasn't just blindly accepting what you told me.
Well, no,
I went and watched the video, and I got my own thing out of it.
but then again, we still got people in our society now that sit there and go, "No, you have to believe what I believe this way."
Right, and we're not saying that.
We're not saying that. That's again, this is like these people that go out there and going, "No, to be a witch, you got to be a vegetarian or a vegan or what?" No, you don't. All right. If you're going around telling people that and you're just blindly believing it. Now, again, if you think it's unmoral for you to do it, that's great. That's you, to eat meat or not to eat meat. You know what I mean?
Right. But that should be your decision, not somebody else's.
Right. To me, these are moral decisions. I've already told you what my ethics are.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows how in hell I'm coming from that. But morally, no, I don't find some of this stuff right. The one gentleman we were talking about, yes, I think he should have checked himself. The other guy selling spells, ethically, you're right. Nothing wrong about that. Morally, a different subject.
Right. And we'll definitely delve more into that later, because those topics were just, I don't know, those were very intriguing topics. So yeah, we'll definitely get into those
more. But my point there is the open-mindedness about it.
Right.
When I first heard it, yeah, and I might have had to think about it for a little while. There's nothing wrong with sometimes not giving an answer or not taking a position.
No, of course not. Sometimes it's best to step back and examine everything and then make your decision.
Yeah. I mean, read an article, do some, research, see what in the world it's all about, actually. And I hate to be this way, especially when it comes to like laws that they're trying to pass.
Yes.
Go and actually read the law itself.
Oh my God, research. What a novel idea.
This is not that hard,
No.
Because there's a prime example of what in the world we're talking about. Florida just passed a bill. Reading the bill, it says from kindergarten to third grade, which is about almost 10 years old.
Roughly, yeah.
Like that. Yeah, they're not allowed to talk about sexual identity or marriage between people or anything like that. But yet everybody's going around saying it's the don't say gay bill, which has nothing to do with it.
Right.
But yet I'm sure there are people out there. No, CNN said, no, they're not allowed to. It's kindergarten. It's first grade. It's third grade. Really?
Well, and I'm going to say it, any major news source, don't trust everything they tell you.
Don't.
Do your own damn research.
It was not that hard to go find the bill, look it up, and read it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not the world's best reader, but I can even get my computer to sit there and read an article off to me.
Yeah.
While I'm doing other stuff around the house.
Yeah, you don't even need special software anymore. Most computers it's built in now.
It's built in. I mean, shoot, I used to have to spend over $400 every couple of years for software that did that and voiced the text and back and forth.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else to say about that. Yes, there's a point where people open up their minds to the point to where, it just falls out.
Right. In other words, don't let yourself become so much of a sponge that all you're doing is just taking information in and not making your own choices or your own decisions. Don't be so gullible to let people influence what you believe. Make your own decisions. Do your research.
I mean, again, if you believe in something, right? I mean, you honestly believe in it and you can back it up. There's some logic there in your head, right? For you. It doesn't necessarily mean anybody else can understand it.
Well, they don't have to.
They don't have to. You're doing this for you, not anybody else. And as the older you get and the more you actually talk about the concepts you have, the more you're going to be able to refine it to the point to where you're like, okay, here's what I believe and here's 15 reasons why.
Right.
I don't have a problem with the football player who does the whole entire thing of, I pray before every game. And the one game I didn't pray for, I hurt myself and I can no longer play football.
Right.
All right. Now, you laugh, but to me, this guy doesn't necessarily have an open mind on this. He believes what he believes. And he deserves to.
Right. Well, I mean, you don't really have to have an open mind when it comes to something like that you absolutely believe in.
Yep.
But when it comes to something else that, somebody else firmly believes in, you need to at least have an open mind enough to listen to them.
Exactly.
But don't just, don't back down from what you believe.
When you got 15 reasons to believe why in the world you believe, that's a whole lot harder to fight than, because my priest told me to.
Right.
I believe you ought to stir everything clockwise because, that's what, Silver Ravenwolf wrote in a book or Thorne Mooney wrote in a book. So therefore it must be true.
Right. It could have been anybody, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it could be anybody.
Don't just take some.
Those are just the names of some people I remember.
Right.
Off the top of my head. But that to me is not an acceptable answer.
No, of course not.
It's great that you believe this and that these people have validated what you believe, but please tell me why you believe what you believe.
Exactly. Right. I mean, you've got to have your reasons. If you don't have your reasons, then you need to question what you believe.
Exactly.
I mean,
if your whole entire argument is because I was told so, it's not an argument.
Right.
Don't matter what in the world it is. So, all right. I'm about out of coffee on this one.
Me too.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning